Yo, what is up everyone? This is Herbs back with another video. And today I thought I'd do something a little bit different than usual. So instead of doing one of my regular videos, I actually have an idea for something that I'd like to see added to Minecraft. Tameable Birds of Prey. Now the way I thought this would work is that in different biomes you'd have different birds of prey that would not only look cosmetically different, but would also have different abilities that you can harness by raising them. And so I've thought of several different ideas for cool birds of prey that you could train and tame inside Minecraft, and I think they'd make really good additions to the game as it stands right now. So without further ado, here are my ideas. And as always, if you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe, as it means a lot to a small channel like mine. And if you have any changes you'd like to make or any additions you think you'd like to add, be sure to comment them down in the description down below so I can maybe include them in a future video. So the first idea I have for a biome-specific bird of prey is the Osprey. So the Osprey would be in beach biomes where the ocean meets the land, and it would be fairly rare, and just like all of the different birds of prey, it would have three different sort of modes, if you will. One would be its perching mode, where it's either perching on the player's glove or shoulder, or on a perch somewhere, like a fence post. The second option would be its sort of attack-defense thing, which would work something like how wolves work right now. But the third thing would be unique to the Osprey, and all the different birds of prey would have different unique third options for their modes. And this third option would be its fishing mode, because in real life, Ospreys catch fish in the ocean to eat. So what I think this mode could do would be the Osprey goes out, it flies away into the ocean, and it comes back with fish. It goes fishing for cod in the ocean, and this can be used to make some sort of automatic fish farm using this bird. In addition, there would be a small chance to get other fishing loot such as tripwire hooks, bowls, name tags, enchanted books, all the usual things that you usually get from fishing, but now you can get it with an Osprey. And so just like that, our first bird of prey that you can train is the Osprey. Okay, my second idea for a bird of prey is the bald eagle. This would live in river biomes, usually where there is a large valley leading down to a river in the middle, and it would be very much like the Osprey in terms of its third mode, except that it would catch salmon instead of cod. And also, because bald eagles are well known for making really large nests in the wild, it would also collect lots of sticks, which it uses to make a nest. So in this way, when you put the bald eagle into its third mode, its fishing mode, it will gather a bunch of salmon, a bunch of fishing loot like enchanted books and labels, and it'll also gather sticks. And I think to make it a little bit different from the Osprey, it'll probably have a little bit stronger attack power and defense power when it's in its regular attacking or defending mode, but would probably be a little bit more difficult to train since they're kind of larger, more wild animals. So yeah, that's the second idea for a bird of prey, the bald eagle. The third bird of prey I thought of is a peregrine falcon. Now this would probably be the rarest of all of the birds of prey that you can find in Minecraft. However, I don't know that it would have to be the most difficult to train. That would probably go to something like the Harpy Eagle or the Condor. Now, the peregrine falcon would be found in the extreme hills biome, therefore making it rather rare. And the way it would essentially work is it would obviously have an attack mode, just like all the other ones, in which I think it would do quite a bit of damage. It would do quite a lot more damage than the other ones by dive bombing the other mobs. However, it would have significantly less health than the larger birds, and it would also obviously have the perching mode, which just like all the other ones. But for its third mode, it will have a hunting mode, where it will hunt different birds. In this way, the peregrine falcon could be used to farm chickens or other birds that will get added to the game over time. It would bring back the drops to you, so feathers or chicken meat or other things, and would be an excellent way to make a really quick farm for different types of birds. And I have a lot of different ideas for birds that should be added to the game, so I might make a separate video on that one, and if I have, it'll be above me right now, and those also would be quite quickly hunted by the peregrine falcon, just like it does in real life. The fourth type of bird of prey that I think should be added to Minecraft is just a regular falcon. This would be the most common and also the weakest. The way it would work is it would spawn in plains biomes or maybe savannas or some other similar type of biomes and be fairly easy to train, and it actually wouldn't have a third mode. It would just be able to perch on you or perch on a fence post or something like that, or attack enemies like a dog does currently in Minecraft. However, because it would be easy to get, it would make it a lot more accessible for early game players. So yeah, that's basically the simplest, least helpful version of the bird of prey, but it's the easiest to get for sure. The fifth type of bird of prey that I would like to see added to Minecraft would be probably almost as rare as the Peregrine Falcon. It would be the Harpy Eagle. The Harpy Eagle is one of the largest birds in existence right now. It is a bird of prey that is capable of lifting small livestock and monkeys, lifting it high up into the clouds and then essentially dropping them to kill them. So I thought this would be a really cool thing to add to Minecraft. So yeah, it would be very, very rare, and since it's very large, it would also be very difficult to train. However, if you manage to do so, you'll have a very overpowered bird on your hands. You can use it to kill smaller mobs, you can use it to work your animal farms, you can use it to do a number of different things, and I think it would be a really cool addition to the game. And obviously it would also have the two other modes other than its hunting mode, which would just be the normal perching mode and the normal attack and defense mode. And this would probably be among the more OP of the different birds of prey. However, I think it would do less damage than the Peregrine Falcon, so that it's not completely overpowered. The next type of bird of prey would be the vulture. Now this would be less rare than the other ones, however I think it would be rather difficult to train because it is a larger and more wild animal than many of the others. So the vulture would be found in desert biomes, obviously, and there's a couple cool ideas I have for how it could work. So everyone knows vultures kind of follow around people they think are going to die, and then they feed on the carrion once an animal or human has died in the desert. So I have a couple of ideas on how it could be tamed and used to be helpful for the player. The first idea is that every morning when zombies and skeletons and the like burn up in the sun, it can go out and gather the bones and rotten flesh and bring them back to its master, thereby making a fairly steady supply of materials that you might want to farm early game. The other thing which would perhaps be more helpful for players who already have rotten flesh or bone farms, so people who are much further into the game than your average player, would be it would guide you to the spot where you last died. So let's say you died before you could take a look at your coordinates and you have no idea where you died and you're afraid you're not going to be able to find it. You could use your vulture and it would fly in the direction of where you last died and circle around your stuff until you get there. Now I think this would be a really cool thing to add to the game. Like a method of finding your stuff when you died is super helpful, but also it just makes sense because vultures are known for circling people who are close to dying or who have just died, and it kind of makes sense. I think it'd be a really interesting mechanic to add to the game, and perhaps would make the vultures the most helpful of these birds of prey. But yeah, that's the next type of bird of prey, the vulture. The second to last idea I have for a bird of prey in Minecraft is the condor. Now, condors in real life live in mountains, so I think it would probably be found in mountain biomes. And condors have extremely large wingspans, and that's probably one of their most defining characteristics. They fly really high in the sky, and they have really large wingspans. And so I was kind of inspired when thinking about this bird from the scene in one of the Tintin comics, Tintin and the Prisoners of the Sun. When Tintin uses a condor, he grips its legs and glides downward. I was thinking a condor could be a really interesting way of gliding downwards for players who are earlier on in the game so that they don't actually have elytras. Now, it wouldn't be quite as good as elytras because you wouldn't be able to power it with fireworks or swoop upwards again, but it would maybe glide further per second maybe, or further per jump than an elytra without fireworks would do, thereby making it a relatively useful bird. It could also gather drops from dead animals, sort of like the vulture does, because that is what it does in real life. It feasts on dead animals, generally speaking, so maybe the condor would get the drops from dead animals, whereas the vulture would get drops from undead mobs, something like that. But yeah, I think this would be a really interesting idea for a bird. Also, because it flies so high, there could be some function where you press a certain button and you get to see from its point of view and get a really nice high aerial view of the map. But that could be a little overpowered and kind of like is a step away from the rest of the game. It kind of takes you out of the game a little bit because it doesn't really match with the other things you generally find in Minecraft. It's kind of an outlier in that respect. So I'm kind of wondering if that would be a little bit too different from the rest of the game. Well, that's certainly an idea, so comment down below if you think that's a good one. So yeah, the second to last bird of prey on my list is the Condor. Okay, so the very last idea I have for a bird of prey in Minecraft is the snowy owl. Now, of course, you could add a number of different types of owls and different biomes to the game, but I think snowy owls are generally the ones that people would probably want the most, and are also probably the most interesting ones to have. So the way I think snowy owls could work in the game is they'd be found in snowy tundras, and while they wouldn't be that rare, they would be fairly difficult to train, because snowy owls are notorious for being difficult to train properly, even when brought up in captivity. Snowy owls would be helpful because they could hunt rabbits or other smaller creatures. I was thinking Mojang could add mice to the game who eat your wheat and crops when you're trying to grow them, and are really annoying in that way. And maybe the snowy owl could hunt those too. So I think that would be a really interesting thing to add to Minecraft. And so yeah, that finishes the list of birds of prey that I would like to see added to Minecraft. So I suppose now that I've said all my ideas for birds of prey that I'd like to see added to Minecraft, the real question is how exactly you'd train them, how exactly you get them to trust you. And I think the best way to do this would have to be very similar to the way foxes currently work. So with foxes right now, essentially what you have to do is you have to get a young baby fox when it's extremely young, soon after it's born, and essentially put it on a lead and take it away from its family, and it'll start to treat you as if it's its parent. And I think it should be a similar thing with these birds of prey. So maybe they'll have eggs, sort of like turtle eggs, laid in nests or in trees somewhere. And you can, if you're far enough into the game, you can get a silk touch pickaxe, break those eggs, and put them somewhere closer to your base so they choose you as a parent. Or alternatively, if you're earlier on in the game and you don't actually have a silk touch pickaxe, you could maybe just, as soon as they're born, you can take them away, or maybe get rid of the parents, dispose of them before the baby is born. Something along those lines. I know it doesn't sound very politically correct, but that would be one of the ways you could do it. And essentially, once you have this baby bird that is kind of looking up to you like a parent, you just have to keep feeding it, keeping it healthy, and the more you feed it, the more it'll love you, and eventually, once you've gained its complete and utter trust, it'll start to do things for you. So maybe at this very first tier, what it'll do is it will stay on your glove, or it'll stay on your shoulder, or it'll perch on a fence post if you tell it to. And then, the way you get it to further tiers is both through making it trust you more by giving it more food, but also, as a secondary thing, you'd have to breed it with other ones, and their offspring are more likely to love you more. So the more kind of generations of birds that you breed and look after, the more they'll trust you, the more tiers you'll unlock, and soon enough you'll be unlocking that third mode, where there's something really helpful to help you in the game. I think this would be a really cool thing to implement into the game, and I think it kind of makes sense as a way to tame these wild birds, and I think isn't too easy, but it also isn't too hard, and it's a fairly balanced idea to add to the game. So yeah, I think that's how you should unlock the new tiers, by breeding more and more generations of these birds of prey. However, the way you could improve the way they do those tiers would be down to each animal. So what you do is the more time you spend with them, the more times they do that activity, such as fetching fish or hunting for you or whatever, the better they become at it. So that way it kind of encourages you to spend some time sending out your various birds on their different missions and then waiting for them to come back, because every time they do that, they'll get better at what they do and be more helpful for you as a player.